Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another Dungeons & Dragons video. In this video, I decided to share a bit of a homebrew rule that I myself did not come up with, per se. It was more of a kind of a group decision thanks to some of my players, way back when I started DMing for my local game shop. So the first time the Banishment spell came into play, it, was one of my players who used it to send away a monster into a little demi-plane, and then, he popped back into the battle after a minute. One of my players was playing as a gnome at the time, and she asked me, would that send her to a pocket dimension, or would it send her to another material plane? As the base game puts it, I believe this is like the official ruling on it, all player characters are considered to be from the material plane. As a result, the banishment spell sends them away for a minute at most, and then pops them right back where they left, safe and sound. However, my player brought up that gnomes are from the Feywild. So, wouldn't it make more sense if the banishment spell would send her back to the Feywild? To which I responded with, well, if you get sent there and the spell lasts the whole minute, you're going to be stuck in the Feywild. Now, obviously, I'm very big on player autonomy, and anything I do to the monsters they fight, I'll do to them as well. So, basically what I asked the party was, do you guys want me to rule it this way? Because I think it sounds super cool, but I also don't want one banishment spell causing the entire party to have to segue into a trip to the nether realm to save their, one member who got sent there via banishment spell, or Feywild, or Plane of Fire, or wherever their race ended up. So, having said all that, I decided to run through the races of Dungeons & Dragons and try to, as best as I could guess, homebrew where those races would be sent if they were hit by a banishment spell. For some, it's pretty obvious. Humans go to the material plane, elves are from the Feywild, but I decided for some other ones to maybe play with it a bit. For example, Dwergar and Deep Gnomes, they go to the Shadowfell because the Underdark is so connected to the dark changes of the world around them. Now, obviously, you are free to rule this however you want. You can say Dwergar from the material plane, therefore they just stay here. Or, Tieflings, since their heritage is demonic, but they are also of human descent, you could flip-flop and decide if some go to the material plane. I did put for a half-elf to flip a coin, if heads, or, whichever way you want to do it, heads or tails. But one way or the other, they'll either return to the material plane or they'll be stuck in the Feywild because of their half ancestry. You could do this same thing for any half race you create, such as half orcs, if you want your player to be half minotaur, which is already half humanish, but I'm getting ahead of myself on that. I created a chart with my best guesses. Some races are native to the material plane and therefore aren't affected by this spell, which may be something your players can min-max their party around. An example I have is if you're running a party with 2 Aarakocras and a Genasi, maybe the Genasi player decides to be an air Genasi. So they cast banishment on themselves and then poof, they're in the plane of air for however long they want to be there. It'll be a trip to get back home, but it's an interesting way to kind of change how a specific spell works, and in some cases make it a huge threat to a party. My only note is that for some of these races, I kind of just did what I felt would be the most interesting. Like I sent Luxodon to the plane of Earth. You can obviously mix and match this however you want, but this is a good starting point. And as always, make sure to talk to your players and make sure they're okay with you using this homebrew rule. And be prepared for them to use it back at you. If there's some gnome they don't like and they banish him, he's not coming back after a minute. He is going to the Feywild, because you would do that to a player character gnome. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.